Good evening, everybody. I am Professor Dana Baker, and I am a full-time counseling faculty member at the Rockville campus of Montgomery College. It has been fun and a pleasure to come visit your school, our new remote school, every year to talk about MC, about our policies, procedures, getting your young people ready for college, be it at MC or somewhere else. So I think there have been some questions that you all have for me. Briefly, I hold a bachelor's degree in, what is my bachelor's degree in? So it's been a very long day. Psychology, and I have a minor in biology. I started out as a biology teacher, a biology major, and was told by an advisor at college that girls don't do that. And that pretty much has framed my entire career. I do not do the you can't do that kind of interaction with my students. I've been at MC for 27 years. And I still have no problem getting up every day and going to work. So with that said, what do you have for me tonight?
So one of our first questions we had from a parent wanted to know, what is the status of dual enrollment right now at Montgomery College, especially since the classes, regarding the classes to be held at the universities of Shady Grove?
So as it stands right now, the entire summer session is online. We were also informed a few days ago that there is a strong possibility, depending on how the stay-at-home orders for Montgomery County tend to go, that we may be online to start the semester and then be able to move to face-to-face as the situation changes. I was just listening to the news prior to coming into this meeting with you, and even though the governor is relaxing stay-at-home restrictions across the state, he's giving every jurisdiction the opportunity to do what is best for them. And considering the fact that it was just announced that Montgomery County has the most, PG County has the most cases, Montgomery County has the most deaths. So Mr. Ehrlich has already said, not yet.
Okay.
So we will be online.
Okay, and so your reference to possibly transitioning to face-to-face, that's with regard to the fall session, right?
Yes, nothing in the summer.
Okay.
Okay, how can parents and students find the information about summer courses at Montgomery College?
Okay, so basically they would go to the main college website and they would click on apply and register. And then from there, they can scroll down to search for classes. They would see summer, and now this is where you lose me as an ally for how this all works, because I think I just blocked my face. There is my face. Let me pull up the slide that I have it on and I can read it to you. So basically what it looks like is it's the Montgomery College website. When you click on it, you may see a nice student looking at her laptop, or you might see the college's dinosaur that was a gift to us from the Discovery Channel. It's a T-Rex, it's very large, it sits in the biology department building. And what it says is apply and register. When you click on that, if you look at the second link down, it says search for classes. You would click on that and then you will see spring, summer session 1, summer session 2, and fall. Summer session 1 and 2 registration is currently ongoing. Fall registration, the schedule is viewable now. You will be able to begin registration on Monday, the 18th.
So besides, do you need to send a transcript from your high school to be able to take classes over the summer?
I'm thinking about the best way to answer that. We have a program at MC, which is called the Alternate Placement Program, APP, and it comes in 3 different areas. It comes for English, it can come for math, and it can be based on grade point average. If a student is using their grade point average to waive assessment testing and go directly into college level English and mathematics, yes, that transcript would need to be sent to the college. They would have to have an unweighted GPA of a 2.75 or higher. Now, mind you, for those of you parents who have students who started this fall, just passed, that has gone down a little bit because we do understand that this has been a traumatic time for students this academic year with everything going on. Generally, that GPA is a 3.0 or higher, unweighted. So they've taken it down just a little bit to take into consideration the trauma of what COVID-19 has done in terms of having to switch overnight between an in-person to an online type of learning. So if they send that transcript in, you would send it to Raptor Central, and the email address for that is RAPTORCENTRAL, that's one word, at Montgomery College, which is also one word, .edu.
And do they need to send that transcript? Does it need to arrive before they begin the summer classes?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it is that information that will determine whether or not that they are eligible without assessment testing to be able to go directly into classes.
Okay, thank you. What are the cost of classes at Montgomery College for the summer?
They don't change from the fall and spring. So right now there are, for community colleges across the state, we have a 3-tier price point. There is the county rate, there is the in-state rate, and then there's the out-of-state rate. Here's the difference between the three. The in-county rate is subsidized by taxes that are paid to Montgomery County. The county council votes on a budget for us, and they subsidize any county resident between what the actual cost of attendance is and what we charge for county residents. Let me give me a second, because if I can, let me pull up this slide, I can read from it. Ooh. Did I just block you?
No, we can still see you.
We see you.
Oh, okay, great. I was like, what did I just do? Uh-oh. Okay, so the county rate is, for a 3-credit class, is $532.20. That total amount includes $396 of tuition, $79, $21, $15, and an additional $21, I believe it is, that is for fees. So put all of that together and you get the $500. If you are looking at how that pans out, if you are a state resident, that same 3-credit course would cost you $1,016.80. And that's because we get less money from the state to subsidize education than we get from our own county. And then finally, if you lived in DC, Virginia, or you are an F1 on an F1 student visa and attending classes, this is the point where I tell people, hold on to your wallets. That same 3-credit class for an out-of-state resident would be $1,403.40, because obviously we get no subsidy for someone who lives in a different state or who is here on a student visa.
Okay.
And there is good news. Tuition is not going up in the fall.
Okay. So we had a lot of questions come in about summer courses and eligibility. For instance, students that maybe were going to, and not just summer, but even going into the fall, if a student was perhaps going to go away to a 4-year university, but now they want to stay closer to home because of what's going on, and so they want to take some classes at Montgomery College while they're waiting to go to their regular university. Are there any limitations on who can go there for the summer or the fall?
No, there are not.
Okay.
As long as they have SAT scores, ACT scores, the high school transcript with the appropriate GPA, that we can put them into college level coursework, then no, there is not a reason for them not to come see us this summer.
And there's no minimum number of classes that they have to take or that kind of thing? Okay.
No, not at all.
Okay. And we also had a lot of questions about the process for transferring credits and what credits are eligible for transfer.
The transferability of credit is the purview of the receiving school, not the sending. We can give students a schedule. We can tell them what to take that will, and there is a caveat to that I'll come to in a second, and tell them what to take. And unless we know for a fact from the school themselves that it's something that they will accept and transfer, then it is up to that receiving school. We do have articulation agreements with a variety of different institutions, all of the Maryland system schools being included in that, that say, if you take this, this, and this at Montgomery College, we will accept it and transfer. So it is, if you're going to a Maryland system school, it is very easy for us to figure out what you need for your major and have you register for courses accordingly. If you have a student who is planning on going outside of the state, that's when we need to contact that particular institution. The student needs to say to them, I'm going to stay at Montgomery College for the fall. What courses can I take at Montgomery College that you all will accept back towards my degree? Another question that I generally get is, what happens when a student transfers their grades and credit? Credit transfers, grades do not. Now, mind you, that receiving institution can see those grades, but generally it takes a C or higher for credit to be given. Also, I think, what did I figure out? I was looking at something on TV the other day. I think they call these new shows a reboot if it's been a show that was off the air for years and years and years. Your GPA is a reboot. So even if you start at Montgomery College and you transfer in, let's say, 15 credits, the credit is what transfers, not the grades. So when you get to, let's say, Salisbury, you take your first 15 credits there, that's where the that's where the GPA begins. You'll have the 15 other credits and they'll work towards your degree, but the actual GPA for that institution is at that institution.
Okay. What about students that might need extended time or accommodations? Is there still time to get that sorted out if they wanted to take summer classes?
Well, normally I would have to say it's running a little late. Because we have postponed summer session 1, it doesn't begin until June 8th versus the day after Memorial Day, which is our usual start date.
Okay.
You do still have a little more, you have some more time to get those things done. Basically, they would go to the MC website. It would be montgomerycollege.edu/DSS. There is a form on that website that they would fill out. If they have things like testing of the student or an EAP from their school days, upload that information. It goes directly to the Office of Disability Support Services. They will look at it and then they will set up an appointment with the student to go over the accommodations that are provided based on the information that they have. A few things, and I don't work in DSS, but a few things that I need parents to know is that not every accommodation that a student received in high school will be able to be accommodated in college. And the college does not go out looking for students who need accommodations. Once you graduate high school and are of college age, you have to go and ask for a request, better word, the accommodations that you need. We cannot, when we're talking to students in class or in a meeting, even if they say to us that they had accommodations in high school, we are not necessarily legally allowed to say, okay, you need to do this, this, and this. What we do is we have a piece of paper that we hand them and say, you might want to look at this and see if there's some help there that would be of use to you. Okay. So parents, get them moving, get them on the website, have them fill out the forms, and get that process rolling.
Okay. In that same vein, are the counselors doing virtual meetings now with students?
Yes, we are. We are all, Montgomery College right now is all virtual. Okay. Everything is remote. Our administrative staff is working remotely. Our faculty are teaching remotely. And those of us who are counselors and or advisors are doing this remotely. There are 3 ways that you can reach out to us. You would make an appointment using the Starfish system, which is off of MyMC, and I'll talk about that in a second. You can either have a Zoom meeting like the one we're having right now. You can do this via telephone, where a counselor will you give us a phone number, we call into your phone number and have a conversation over the phone. Or if you're more comfortable, you can use email, and literally you email us your questions during that appointment time, and we send you either answers or documents that will help you with whatever the questions are. Let's see. I think I'm forgetting something there. Hold on for a second. Zoom, email. It will come back to me and I'll go back to you.
Okay. So I guess kind of wrapping up a little bit of the summer stuff. If a student needed to take an AccuPlacer for any reason, like they already knew that they were going to have to do that before they went to Montgomery College, how is that being handled right now?
Okay. That is probably the hardest question. Nothing else on this sheet is going to be more difficult to explain than this.
Okay.
And it's because of the remote nature of it. That's the issue. It's not that the testing has changed, but the fact that we're having to do it remotely has put a new twist on it. So basically, if a student doesn't have SATs, ACTs, and doesn't have the appropriate alternate placement, then they need to take the assessment test. What they would need to do is go to the Montgomery College. Again, the website is the starting point. It would be montgomerycollege.edu/assessment. Once they get to the assessment center page, it literally says, if you need to take the English and reading test, click here. If you need to take the math test, click here. If you're here to take chemistry, click here. If you are a second language learner and need to take the AccuPlacer ESL, click here. And then once you click on it, it tells you what you need to do in order to do the testing remotely. For English, it's going to ask you a series of questions, and then you're going to answer those questions. And once you answer them, it's going to say, okay, do you think this is the placement that you need based on the answers and our responses? If the student says no, they go to the next level. Now, mind you, the first level is developmental. Second level is English 101A, which is the 3 credits of freshman composition plus support, being tutoring, in-session support for the student in grammar, usage, sentence structure. If they are thinking of English 101A, then what they would do is they would write a 2-paragraph essay, send it. The English department will read it and directly get back to the student as to what their placement is. The next level is, I don't want to take 101A, I want to take 101. I think I can do it. Perfect. We applaud that. You write a 3-paragraph essay, and then the same process. The English department will contact the student directly. And parents, this is another thing you need to know. This wasn't what I forgot, but this is important. We do not communicate with private email. Montgomery College email is our way of communicating with your student. It can be logged in off of MyMC. Please know, and when I do my actual full-blown presentation, usually at the beginning of every academic year for the Office of Student Life, I tell parents all the time, it would only take you once of, I am the coolest person on earth at hotmail.com. Shake your booty at gmail.com. And these, believe me, these are ones that have come to my office. It's not appropriate, nor is it something you would want an employer to actually see. So the college has a policy that all email interactions are conducted through a student's MyMC account. The other good reason for that is it follows FERPA guidelines. Unless you've given your MyMC password and login to 1,000 people, no one should know it other than the student and a parent if they give it to them. So that means that whoever's logging in is either the student or hopefully that may be one person that they gave it to. That way we are assured that the student we are talking to when we're either online or on the telephone is the person that we should be talking to. Let's see. Online learning. Okay. Did I answer all of it? I feel like a job interview. Did I answer your whole question?
Yeah. No, I think that's good. I mean, you talked about English. If you needed to do the math AccuPlacer, would it work the same way?
Okay, so we got rid of the math AccuPlacer early at the end of last fall because we found out it had some glitches for students with disabilities and it wasn't working for them. So now we use a product called ALEKS, A-L-E-K-S.
Okay.
And what Alex does is it has the students do a diagnostic test. Once they do the diagnostic test, Alex will tell them based on their score what math course that they would test into in a proctored environment if they do the same. Part of the diagnostic test is to make sure students are doing the testing themselves and not having their cousin Jim, who's a math major, come and take the test for them.
Okay.
So once they have done the diagnostic, they have to do at least 3 hours of module work in math, and then they're going to be allowed to take the test again. The scores for the test will be uploaded. The math department will get them, and the math department will get in touch with students and let them know what their placement is. There's a huge block at the beginning of the test that talks about the honor system. The honor system is very important in any college environment. And it's not just about the whole aspect of plagiarism, which is a big part of the honors system, but it's also about cheating. And for you to have someone else put you in a math level that you are not going to be ready for is a problem, not just for the process, but it's also a problem for you as the student, because you're going to be in there and you're going to be expected to have a certain level of proficiency, and if you don't have it, it's going to put you at a disadvantage.
Makes sense. Okay. You want to go ahead, Brian?
Yeah. So there's a student who had taken summer courses at Montgomery College in previous years, middle school and the rising high school year for ninth grade. What summer online courses could the student take in this summer before 10th grade? And the reason why we received the question is that courses that were offered previously are no longer being offered. So just wondering what options are available for high school students to take over the summer.
Did the person that sent that question mention what courses they were looking for?
No.
Oh, darn. Because there are very few courses that we offered in the past, except for the lab sciences, that aren't on the schedule right now. Now, they may be full, but there's very little that we would not have offered in a summer session that's not being offered right now. Most of the gen eds are being offered. That would include the arts distribution type courses, your actual art appreciation, music, theater, your humanities courses, which would be your philosophies, your histories, your foreign languages. Some of those may not be offered. And usually if something like a foreign language is not offered, it's because the person that would be teaching it has made other arrangements for the summer and is not available, especially when you get into the 201 and 202 levels, or the 215 and 216 level, which is the literature ends of the languages. So and then for behavioral and social sciences, I know for a fact that we're offering psychology, sociology, anthropology, criminal justice, and political science. It's between the 2 summer sessions. So I'm not exactly sure. I would have to know exactly what the student took previously and what the student's goal is in terms of college in general to be able to actually efficiently answer that question. But I can tell them if they go to the main website, click on summer session 1, summer session 2, that they should be able to find things. Now that student, since they are still an underage student, would have to go through the dual enrollment office in order to register and talk to, if they're coming to Rockville, it would be Mrs. Hu Koto in order to be able to register for classes.
So it sounds like there's a lot of options available for high school students.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a lot now, and a lot of it is going to be based on their SAT scores or their AccuPlacer scores, because one of the rules of dual enrollment is the student has to be college ready. And so with that in mind, if a student tests, so they are in English freshman composition and a college level math class, depending on what they're trying to take, then they should be fine.
Okay, thank you.
So we had another parent who wrote in about her daughter's going to be going to the University of Maryland this fall, and she had a question about whether she can take a class that requires English 101 if she's going to wait to take English 101 at University of Maryland. Basically, I think she wrote that it would be like a co-requisite course, the English 101. I'm not sure if there are any limitations in that regard. I'm not sure exactly what classes those would be.
I think that what she may be mistaking, possibly, don't know, because I need to see what the actual student information, but she may be mistaking an assessment level as a co-requisite. Most of Montgomery College courses have what is known as an assessment level. An assessment level is the level of English, math, and reading that the department that put the assessment level on feels are necessary for the student to be eligible for in order to take a particular class. Very different from a prerequisite or a co-requisite where they have to be taking them at the same time. So if it's an assessment level, if the student has, let's say, SAT scores of 480 or higher, they've met the assessment level. So they would be able to take that class. In terms of mathematics, I kept everything with me because I had a feeling. In terms of mathematics, if it's just a college level math course, a math SAT score of 530 would do the same thing. So as long as you are eligible for that course, then that's fine, that works. But we would have to have that on record for the student to be able to register. They don't need official SAT scores in order to take a class because we're not using them for grades, we're using them for placement. So if they download their SAT scores and screenshot them and send them directly to Raptor Central, those will be put on their academic history, and then that should give them if that's the only thing and it doesn't have a prerequisite, they should be able to register.
Okay. What about non-credit course offerings? I'm kind of curious about, if a student maybe has been struggling with some online learning during this time with high school and they're not really sure and they want to get their feet wet, and see what is online classes, what are they going to be like at Montgomery College? Are there non-credit courses where they could maybe safely take some classes that won't necessarily affect their transcript or their GPA?
I have to tell you, I actually went to my resident teacher daughter expert and I actually asked her what she thought about doing courses in that way. And she was great because she kind of helped me frame an answer to that because I knew it was going to come up. I had a feeling. So basically, our non-credit courses are offered only through workforce development and continuing education. They are employment, in most instances, they are employment focused. You will find things there like phlebotomy, or how to become a phlebotomy technician, or how to become a certified nursing assistant. You're not going to find things like, let me pick something out of the air. You're not going to find transferable criminal justice. You're not going to find a major in education. There are some education courses for daycare providers that you can inevitably get credit for, but not if you're pursuing the AAT necessarily. So there are two ways to look at it. If the student wants to just get their feet wet with coursework, yes, they could do something in Con Ed. The other option would be that they could take the course as an audit, which means taking it for neither credit nor grade first. But the drawback of that is you sit through the course once. In order to get a grade for it, you would have to sit through it again and actually complete all the assignments and the tests and all of that in order to get an actual grade. That's about the best non-answer I can give you.
Okay. No, I'm just curious because I know that virtual learning isn't necessarily easy for everyone, and some students, really need that interaction with a teacher.
I literally right now have a young woman who was scheduled to graduate in a week now, and she will not be graduating because she just completely overwhelmed by online learning. And the interesting and the hard part about that is we knew this about her. I've had her as an advisee for the last 3 years. We have talked about it. The first time I mentioned online learning to her, she burst into tears. It was a very visceral reaction to even the concept. So imagine what happened when the buildings were shut down and everybody was told, oh, by the way, you have to learn how to use Zoom in like less than an hour, myself included. And it was horrible. So I understand the question, and there really is no workforce development, continuing education answer to it. The only answer that is actually even close to being possible is doing it for audit. Now, here's the thing though. The audit grade can be reversed within 3 weeks. So if the student is in the class and they're like, oh, okay, this is so much more organized than anything MCPS did for me. That's a dig at 2 of my daughters that teach at MCPS. Yeah, it was. I want them to hear this so they can hear me giving them a dig. I can do this. This is fine. I'll be fine. Then they can put in a form to have it changed from audit to credit.
But that would have to happen within 3 weeks of starting the class.
And if you think about it, that would be about 9 class meetings.
Okay.
If it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, that would give them about 9 class meetings. So most students in a virtual world or in a face-to-face world sometimes figure out whether or not they want to be, oh, I took this for audit, but you know what? I think I'll be fine. Or they took it for credit and they're like, oh, no. This is way over my head right now. And they move from credit back to audit to give themselves some time to refresh. I have a service member, he's a private first class in the Army, and he has already taken Calculus 2, and he's going to be auditing Calculus 1 this fall because he thinks it was too long ago. He needs to refresh before he heads back into differential equations or into some of the upper level calculus type courses. So it happens all the time.
Okay.
Dana, are core classes offered at all the Montgomery College campuses and offered online?
Yes. If the person that asked that question is talking about the general education type coursework, so things that fit into the arts distribution, the behavioral and social science, the lab and non-lab science, and the humanities, yes, they are offered on every campus. You begin to fragment off when you get into specific areas. So for example, the health science courses are offered at Tacoma Park, Silver Spring. Landscape technology is offered at Germantown. Engineering is offered at Rockville. So general education is everywhere, but there are certain programs that are only offered at certain campuses. But that can be waylaid. Cybersecurity actually is one of the bigger ones, and biotech. Both of those are offered in Germantown. And what we tell students is you can take your general education requirements, and that would happen with health sciences as well, at any campus you want, but understand, once you start the program requirements, you're going to have to go to the campus of record for that program. And so for biotech and for cybersecurity, it would be Germantown. For engineering, it would be Rockville, plus some others. And then for any health science, so nursing, rad tech, surgical tech, medical, I call it medical coding and billing. They call it health information management. There we go. And so those you would have to go to Tacoma Park, Silver Spring.
Okay, thank you.
And so for when students are back on campus, just a couple of general questions. Does each campus have a cafeteria?
Yes, we do.
Okay, and can students, is there like a student meal plan for that?
We have been talking about it for a number of years, and the company that we had, the company that we have and that will be leaving at the end of the fiscal year was not able to make it happen. I believe that one of the reasons the new company, and I'm sorry, I don't know what the name of it is, I just know we're getting a new company, is one of the things that they have been tasked with is to make the meal plan happen. So a student will use their ID card that they'll get as soon as they've registered and paid for their courses, either out of their own pocket or using financial aid. It'll get a sticker on it for the semester, which entitles them to library services, computer lab services, and then we're hoping that it will include a meal plan for the cafeteria.
Okay, well, I think that kind of answers my next question, which is whether each campus has a computer lab. So it sounds like they probably do.
Every campus does have computer labs that are there for student use. They're probably dusty right now because they haven't seen us since March 12th. So we're gonna have to do a lot of dusting and a lot of spraying things, spraying dust away. But Rockville campus alone has over 180 computers that are there for student use. They all have the internet, they can use them for library research. No, you can't use them to email your friends, but you can use it for anything school related. We also have a number of computer labs in various departments like interior design, CAD, cartography, that have their own computer labs where the software that they use in those classes is available for students to use in the lab.
So Dana, we've been hearing from students, parents and students, that students are deferring college, their colleges that they were admitted to because of what's going on now with a lot of the colleges moving to virtual school. Has MC, is there an expectation, is MC expecting like a large increase in enrollment because of what's going on currently?
What I will say to you is we're preparing for it. And I know that that's already in place and ready to go. The interesting thing is I started at Montgomery College in 1992. And the interesting piece of that was if you were living in the county back then, you might remember that in 1993, we suffered a major recession in this county. The county government called back money from every entity in the state, in the county. And it was interesting because I was a chairperson of one of the budget groups that had to find $1 million of the $8 million we were going to have to give back. The interesting piece of that year was MC saw in 1993, 94, and I believe 95 as well. We saw the largest increase in enrollment that they had seen, according, because I wasn't there prior to 92, that they had seen since the mid 80s. People tend to flock to community college in a crisis, not because we are the easy out, but because cost effectiveness is our middle name.
Yeah.
It is, I defy anyone to find a 4-year institution where you can take a single 3-credit course for less than $600. If you find it, tell me so I can send my grandson there.
Nope, you can't find it anywhere. Yeah, that's incredible.
And that's what seems to happen. People, all of a sudden, I love it in a lot of ways, because people wake up and realize that we are the first 2 years of a 4-year degree. Our coursework transfers pretty much everywhere. I have a student that was supposed to go to Cornell. So she decided, no, I'm not doing that. So she's going to be at MC in the fall and the spring. And what I told her, I said, here's what I need you to do. I need you to call Cornell and let them know what your plan is, defer your admission till next year, and let them know what your plan is. She emailed me the next day. She said, you knew, didn't you? And I was like, okay, I knew what exactly? I emailed her back and she said, Cornell has a sheet that they emailed me with all the courses at Cornell that Montgomery College courses transfer to them with. Oh, yeah, I did know that, sorry. So if for most schools, you can generally find Montgomery College is known far and wide. That's a wonderful thing about our reputation. And it's hilarious because it is parents, my sense of humor sucks. I know my children tell me all the time. My daughter told me if I told her it was traffic in the hallway one more time, she was just gonna throw me off the balcony. But here's the fun thing. I was in Universal Studios, California. Not the one in Florida, the one in California. And I'm walking along with my family, enjoying the sunshine and the fun time with my family. And all of a sudden, I heard, "Professor Baker." I was like, uh-oh. I turned around and it was a student that I had taught maybe 5, 6 years prior to this trip. At that moment, my children basically announced, "We are going nowhere ever again with you. We do not like this. We are here as a family vacation." And so I had to hear the huffing and puffing for the rest of my vacation. But that's a testament to MC. We try to do the best we can to give students a quality education. So far, we've been told we're doing a good job of it. We have transfer students in every state and 2 territories of the United States. We have students at Harvard. We have students at Yale. We have students at MIT. We just found out, oh goodness, was it just before we left? No, this has been since we've been out of the buildings. In one of our faculty meetings, one of our colleagues announced that one of her students was given a full scholarship to Smith College and to Mount Holyoke. All she has to do is decide which one she wants to go to. We have this year an USA Today All-American Team student from MC. We also have 3 Coca-Cola scholars and 5 finalists for the Jack Kent Cooke Scholarship. We do pretty well.
I'll say, and I can say that I spent my first 2 years at Montgomery College before transferring to College Park. So I know firsthand it was a great way to start my college career at Montgomery College.
I tell parents a lot, and this is part of the full-blown presentation, that anyone, think back to when you were 18. And unless you have really raised an amazing child, I know I have 8 that I've raised, no, they are not going to know what is until they've had a chance to think it through and kind of mature a little. My mantra in my house is, adult is not a verb. What is adulting? I don't understand. Adult is a noun, it is not a verb. So we need to give them an opportunity to grow and explore before we spend, I'll use myself as an example. The $45,000 that I gave, it was a gift, to Xavier University in Cincinnati. Yeah, that's how long my daughter stayed, 3 semesters at $15,000 a whop. It was the 3rd semester, she called her older brother and said, "I'm miserable, I miss my grandma, she's not well, I want to come home." My son calls me, he says, "Mom, you need to bring Jessica home." I was like, okay. I called my daughter, I said, "I understand you want to come home." She says, no, I'm fine, everything's okay. Okay, all right, fine, enjoy. By Thanksgiving, my son had called me 3 more times. By her visit home for Thanksgiving, I said, "I will be up there to pack your things right after final exams." She was like, "I can come home?" "Yes, because I'm sick of your brother calling me and telling me I need to bring you home." She came home. She graduated from Montgomery College. She got her AAT, Associate of Arts in Teaching. She went on to Towson and got her bachelor's degree. She's currently working on her master's at University of Maryland Global Campus. And she's been teaching in MCPS for now 10 years.
Wow.
My younger daughter is a teacher at the Learning Center for students with disabilities. She majored in public health science at MC, went on to College Park and got her bachelor's degree, decided she was going into the Army and she will be leaving for basic training soon as school is over. And she said, "I'll let them pay for my master's degree." Great, works for mom. So MC is a great place to start. It is a great place to get your feet wet, to learn what college is all about, to see the differences in college versus your high school experience. I tend to tell students a lot, we give F's for failure, not E's for effort. Parents, I did mean to mention this to you. If I was doing this full-blown presentation, I would be looking you squarely in the eye and saying to you, there is no more Edline, there is no more Naviance. It is called trust and talk to your students. They have control of their M number and their login and their password. We are not going to be able to give you information. You can't creep up on us in our offices and demand to know how your child is doing. You can call the president's office and they will tell you the same thing. So it is now time to build that relationship so that you're asking questions that don't sound accusatory. How are you doing in school? No, that wouldn't be a good idea. How are things going? Are you having any trouble with the online format? Is there anything I can do to help? Do you need a new computer? Do you need any software that you need to buy? Did you apply for your financial aid? I know we did the FAFSA, but did you check your email? Are you checking your MC email regularly? Because that's how Montgomery College faculty and staff communicate. Those are the things that you can be doing right now to help get that child ready for when they walk onto our computer on August 31st. As you can probably tell, I am the biggest technophobe ever. I don't like this. It is killing me. My children are laughing at me because every time I learn how to do something new, I expect applause. So, and my daughter that's still at home, when she moved back home, when she realized she was going in the service, and she's like, Mom, stop making corny jokes. And please stop expecting us to applaud you when you figure out how to use something that you should have known how to use. Okay. I told her, okay, whatever, sweetie. This is not Mom's most fun moment. Now, I want to take a look at some information I wrote down to see if I missed anything. Nikki, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you an email that talks about how people take the assessment test. And you can send that out when you send out the copy of the recording. Let's see. There's not a way. Okay, I need to address that. Oh, wait, nope. I had some more. There's the rest of my questions that I had for you. Okay, so I've answered all those. We've talked about tuition. We've talked about registration. Oh, this was something that I glanced about because I talked about the grade point average end of it. The alternate placement program in English and math, that information is provided to us from MCPS. It's not something that Montgomery College makes a decision about. So literally, if you are eligible for the alternate placement in English or math, we already know that because MCPS has already sent us that information. So when you make that appointment to see a counselor, we will have that information. So we'll be able to say to you, okay, here's what your alternate placement is. This is what it allows you to take. Now let's talk about your major and what you're going to do with that information. Also, when your students come in and okay, see, you can see where I'm hot wired. Sitting behind a computer is not where I'm hot wired. When we talk to your student online, do they get the video of this or just the audio?
The video also.
Good. When they come in to talk to us, make sure that one of the first questions we're going to ask them is, have they taken any AP exams? It's not about taking the class, it's about taking the test. And I understand that the testing this year is a laugh riot. I talked to a student today that took the calculus AB exam, and it was literally 2 questions.
Yep, my son took it.
Oh my gosh. What can I tell you about what I know about calculus in 2 questions? I don't understand. Okay. So I laughed at that and I said to them, make sure you have that information ready. You have to submit the scores in order for the credit to be posted. But what we as counselors and advisors do is we avoid areas where you have AP. So let's say, for example, you had an AP in psychology, you took AP psychology and you earned a 5. That would give you credit for Psychology 102. So we would put that in with AP and a question mark, and that, because we don't want you to take we don't want you to take that psychology course we would want you, if you wanted to take a 200 level psychology course. So we use those scores to help us to tell you what classes pass what you've already done. I spoke with a student earlier today that presented me with 19 credits of AP. She had bypassed a lab science. She had done one of her behavioral and social sciences. It was political science. She had done 2 history. She got credit for 2 history classes, 2 Spanish classes. She's the one that took the 2-question calculus exam the other day. And she had something else that I can't remember. But she walks in with basically 19 credits already on the books. When I gave her her schedule of what she should be taking, she will graduate in 1 year, pretty close to 1 year. So it does make a difference, and it's so that we can advise you properly. The worst thing you can have happen is if you took the AP lying test and you get a 5, and we have you taking, and we don't find that out until you're already in the middle of English 101, that you could have bypassed 101 and English 102. So we want to know what those AP scores are, make sure that the student has that information ready, what tests they took and what their score was. I'm scrolling through my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything that I think you all need to know. Oh, let's see what that one is. Oh, parents, this applies to you and your student. Basically, I'm reading from my notes, so if I'm looking away from the screen, please forgive me. But there are 2 things that your student needs to be aware of in this process. One of them is a lot of the one-on-one hand-holding. We do nurture them, but a lot of the hand-holding is going to leave. Students are given a syllabus at the beginning of class. And one of the fun things is, if you were actually seeing this in person, one of the first questions I ask in the room when I start talking about syllabi is I say to the student, okay, how many of you received a syllabus in any of your high school classes? And every hand in the room goes up. Great, that's good. So you should know how to do this. And then I say to them, oh yeah, I'm sorry, by the way, how many of you threw it in the trash as you were walking out the door? And half of the hands stay up. I have parents looking at their children like, what do you mean? Well, my word to them is, don't throw it in the trash. Because that means you're going to have to go online to Blackboard and figure out how to use Blackboard so that you can get another copy. Make sure you are reading that syllabus. Make sure you understand what the rubrics are for grading, what the assignments are, when they are due, because you are not going to get reminders generally. We're going to expect you to follow the syllabus, and that is what a college campus, what a college environment expects. My story to students and to parents happened about 4 years ago, because this young lady's about to graduate from her 4-year institution. Oh, actually, she already graduated this weekend. She came to me about halfway through the semester and she said, Professor Baker, I have a question. At the beginning of the class, the teacher gave us a syllabus. I was like, okay, surprise, surprise. She says, no, she went over everything, and in the syllabus, there is a 20-page paper that's due on the last day of class. And I said, okay, what's your question? She says, well, she hasn't mentioned it again, so the class kind of got together and decided that we weren't going to do it. I'm sorry? Maya, get yourself home and start writing. And if there's another student in the class that you really, really like, I would tell you to text them and tell them to start writing. 2 A's, everybody else failed the class because the paper was 70% of the grade.
Wow.
You need to read the syllabus. That's why she's graduating from Smith. She's another one of our Smith folks. You need to read it. You need to, parents, you need to ask them, have they read it? Do they understand what is being asked of them? If they don't, email the teacher, ask questions. There is truly no such thing as a stupid question. I can give you 1,000 stupid answers, but there is no such thing as a stupid question, especially when your grade depends on what you actually are doing in a particular class. last thing I have, I think, and how am I doing for time? Oh, good. I'm within my hour that I planned. Yay, I'm doing okay. The last thing I would say to you is have your student understand that I don't know how high school is anymore because it's been a very long time since I've had a high schooler, but professors have office hours for a reason. It is the opportunity where a student can talk to their teacher one-on-one versus in a room with 25 other people. If they have questions that they think are too stupid to ask in class, it's not hard to ask a question when it's just you and the teacher sitting talking. Drop by the office, figure out what their office hours are, and utilize that as a plan for success in your college experience. Bear in mind that college professors are people too. We get emails all the time, and we appreciate your emailing us, but we also appreciate the fact that you understand that we are not on our jobs 24/7. So if you email us at 2 o'clock in the morning, which students do, or if you email us over the weekend, please understand that we will get back to you during normal business hours on Monday. But do not assume that we are sitting here at our computers waiting for your students to email us. I am one of the exceptions to that. My students email me at 11:30 at night, and if I'm sitting here, I will respond, but don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. My colleagues would go nuts on me. They hate it when I do things like that. So, but I do them. Also, we are Mr., Mrs., Professor, Doctor, whatever we've worked really hard to get to. And we appreciate you using those things in front of our actual name. First of all, students, be understood, I have 2 grandchildren older than you, if you are watching and listening to this. So my one granddaughter graduated this year, my grandson graduates next May, my 2 oldest grandchildren. So understand, I am old enough to be your grandmother. Calling me by my first name is not happening. Also, I tell my own children, when they were students at Montgomery College, even when they were students, they had to call me by Professor Baker. They had to. One day I was walking across campus and I heard, "Mom, Mom." And I was looking around thinking, I knew it was my daughter because I recognized her voice, but I'm looking around, somebody call security, somebody's child is lost. Could somebody get security? Somebody's child is lost. She catches up with me. She hits me on the back and she says, "Mom, I was calling you." I was like, "I'm sorry, who are you?" She looked at me and she said, "Oh, Professor Baker, I need lunch money." So I expect my children to greet and provide respect, and I truly expect it in return for myself. I love my students. I will do anything for them. Montgomery College is truly one of the best higher education institutions I have worked in, and I have worked in another one. I won't say where it was. It was a great experience. I love the school, but I love MC more. And just so you know, it was Catholic University. But the interesting thing about being at MC is the fact that we have the ability to do things that you might not encounter at a 4-year institution. We have the smaller class sizes. We have the one-on-one. You are a person. Your child is a person, not a number or a statistic. And we pride ourselves, that along with being Little Harvard on the Pike, which is what it was when I was growing up, we still maintain that level of excellence in what we teach, how we advise, and how we prepare our students for transfer. So thank you all for being with me tonight. Hopefully I answered your questions. If I did not, or you want more information, I can be reached at Dana, D-A-N-A, Baker, B-A-K-E-R, at Montgomery College, one word, .edu. I look forward to hearing from all of you, and I look forward to hopefully very soon seeing your student in person, but for right now, being able to interact with them online.
Thank you so much.
Anything else I can tell the 2 of you for the good of the order?